Well, speaking of spending more time in the company, a long lost friend is about to spend more time in the company because Tony Khan, then it was time for him to be on the bridge of the Starship announcement.
Thanks, guys.
To announce his announcement on the announcement set. And that announcement, as we have talked about briefly on the Drive-Thru this past week, a couple days ago, Collision, the new program on Saturday nights, will feature CM Punk. And that's the very last thing he said. And then they do the wide shots, the jib shot around the arena as the people reacted. And as we mentioned, it was mixed because you got the initial yay from the people who were waiting to hear that. And the people who weren't waiting to hear that because they didn't want it to happen, it settled in on them after a few seconds. And then they started the boos and the grumbling. And that went on that wave. And another thing, a good thing that, or a good point that people have pointed out, they were in California, so that's the Buckaroo's backyard. So they were ready to not like that announcement to begin with. But whichever way you look at it, they've done damage with their childish foolishness and Tony's inability to put his foot down and to turn personal pissiness into professional business, even though Punk has been trying. From every indication we've got, they've damaged a number of their top attractions, whichever way you look. The people who like Punk now probably didn't necessarily like the Buckaroos to begin with, but they hate them now, and vice versa. The people who like the Buckaroos, they probably weren't enamored of Punk, but they didn't hate him. They do now because their boyfriends do. So, and meanwhile, the tickets for these TV shows are $500 a piece.
I think it was Taz after the announcement.
Like Mussolini!
That's what I was going to say. He didn't do it, unfortunately, as bad as that, or fortunately as bad as that. Well, you sound like crap. You know that.
No, I do. Now, I'll have you know.
I do know.
I'll have you know.
I already know. I just said it to you.
I'll have you know that my music teacher, when I was a kid, said that I was the best pupil that she ever had. Actually, her exact words were, of all the students I've ever had, you're the only one I can't teach anything to.
So there you go.
See, I knew it all already.
And then you threw a rock at her head.
Well, no, it wasn't her, but I wasn't welcome back in the fucking history class for a few. Nevertheless, so anyway, now we got this big announcement. And again, when they come back east on the right side of the Mississippi River, then Punk's going to be tearing the house down. When they go over there and they're on the left side of the Mississippi, actually probably the left side of the Nevada state line, then the Buckaroos will probably have the home court advantage, but
well, actually,
it's done nobody any favors, and the inability to advertise this in a coherent fashion, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. It's just ridiculous.
The other question I guess we don't have an answer to yet is, are you going to get the split audiences? Because if it becomes quickly defined that CM Punk and whoever else, based on that poster, FTR, Andrade, Miro, whoever else, if they're going to be on this one show, and the other show's going to have Kenny and the Bucks and Moxley and whoever else, if it's a clear break, when you're buying tickets, you know you're going to the CM Punk show. Are you going to go there to boo him? Or are you going there because you want to see him?
Well, it can't be a hard split because, for one thing, that'll tank the fucking ratings that they've still got on Wednesday night. Because there's not enough people that people give a shit about to watch to go around. It can't be, they can't. Who we just talked about on the last program we did, yours, the Drive-Thru. Who are MJF's logical challengers? And how are they going to split that roster up? MJF and Punk is money. That issue has not been settled. MJF and Darby looks like something they're going to do based on the finish of the four-way, because why would you have beaten the only challenger in the match that was worth a shit unless they were coming back with a single match? past that, what the fuck's going on for the world title? They don't have depth of talent. They've got quantity of talent. They have a plethora of guys on the roster, and they're mispositioned to where nobody. Can you do MJF and Danielson again after you just did it in February? You could always do anything again. Will people buy it again?
Should you do it again? That's the other question. I don't think you should do that match again right now. I'm not to say it wouldn't be great and we wouldn't enjoy watching it, but
right.
I think Danielson right now is going to play with his friends.
Well, yeah, and that's been muddied and muddled to the point where it wouldn't draw now, even though it was a great match. A rematch now would not mean as much as it would have if they'd announced it right after the previous match happened. So the point is, hard split, blah. They ain't going to be able to do that, and he's going to realize when he starts to put these formats for these shows together, sooner or later, that he needs all his goddamn talent available at least for both shows. All the talent I'm talking, not all the roster, all the talent. All the people that fans would watch and give a shit about. And this program that we're talking about shows that, because even if he hadn't split anything, it's not that deep. The next match was a triple threat match between Swerve and Big Bill and Cupcake of the Puddin' Gang. You mean to tell me that is flagship TV show worthy? If you had any other alternative? So, no, I honestly, I think Saturday night is a better night to sell tickets to a live event, but is it now, have they aggravated a segment of the audience to the point where people are going to say, well, fuck, I'm not going to go support AEW because it's AEW Pink with Punk instead of AEW Chartreuse with the Buckaroos. So I'll only go if it's Wednesday. And the other people are saying, well, fuck them fucking trampoline cowboys. I'm only going to go if I get to go Saturday night. And then and plus they are adding a second show in the United States of America every week while the number of towns in the United States of America remains the same. So that means they're going to, whatever they've been doing at whatever pace, they're going to do twice as much of it. And that's going to be twice as many tickets they got to sell.
And I guess this kills any Saturday house shows going forward, unless you're going to run a house show against your own TV show, even if you have a split roster.
Well, from what I saw about the house show, the card rather, that they just ran, and the ones that they ran in Corbin and Salem, I think they just ran Tupelo with a fucking entire roster. It was on the Federal Witness Protection Program. That they probably killed that as it was. They probably dropped that idea already. You don't hear more being announced, but at the same point, they do their pay-per-views on weekends. And now that WWE is going on Saturday night, they're going on, and AEW is going on Sunday, at least they won't conflict with their own pay-per-views. They'll have the night before as a go-home show, but they will be conflicting once a month with a WWF pay-per-view. And if their Saturday night go-home show for a Sunday pay-per-view does not feature everybody, all the top stars that are on the card on the pay-per-view, then that's kind of stupid. And if all the top guys are going to be on pay-per-views, which one would be led to believe you would want every top name that you could have on the lineup on the pay-per-view, then all these fucking fussing and feuding parties are going to be together in the same building anyway. And they're just going to have to avoid bursting into the other guy's locker room and fucking starting a goddamn hayrube. So how's that going to take place? Anyway.